Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video I am going to discuss the novel Pride and Prejudice. It is not only the summary but complete analysis of the whole novel, right? We will discuss the characters, the themes and all the major points in the novel as well. So let's begin. As I already discussed about biography and writing style of Jane Austen, and you will better watch for that to understand. So and she discusses the problems, women problems. She talk about feminist approach she has adopted, right? She presented with the female point of view as the main character, Miss Elizabeth. This is the Elizabeth, right? She is the protagonist of the novel, a female protagonist. So feministic writing is the major characteristics of Jane Austen, and Jane Austen is the one who gave emergence to novel in 18th century. So the major themes you will find in this novel include love, relationships, family, and things like that. So the woman problem, the main thing is right related to family and marriage. So we will find different kinds of marriages in this novel. Obviously it's a romantic novel and romantic love story of Mr. Darcy and Miss Elizabeth, though there are minor stories as well and different kinds of marriages we will see in the novel as well. So the novel begins with a very beautiful line, and it states that it is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. So it talks about marriage or some other things. You can take this line in different perspectives. It can talk about materialism or wealth as well, right? Marriage, feminism, fortune and things like that. So the novel main idea is marriage, right? So different kinds of marriages are involved, and the marriage of Elizabeth and Darcy is obviously based on love, right? And it was a happy marriage. We will see all the things in the novel. And so the novel begins with an Elizabeth family, begins with Elizabeth family. Right, this is the family of Elizabeth. This is Mr. Bennett, this is Miss Bennett, and this is Elizabeth, this is Jane, and this is Lydia, this is Mary, and this is Catherine. So this is the family of Elizabeth, Miss Elizabeth, right? And she is the protagonist of the novel. And you will find that Miss Bennett, she is very concerned about the marriage of her daughters. She has got 5 daughters, right? And she is very worried about their marriage. So one day she heard the news that a rich man known as Mr. Bingley, he is coming to their town, right, at Netherfield Park, at the town of Meryton. So she was very happy because she wanted a marriage of one of her daughters to Mr. Bingley, because he was a wealthy person. So the marriage was only considered a good career for females at that time. So this is a chance that he might like one of them and got married. So that's why Miss Bennet was very happy. So a party was held at Netherfield, right? So this is Mr. Bingley and this is his friend Mr. Darcy, and this is the sister of Bingley, Miss Bingley, right? So this is the party at Netherfield, and at that party Mr. Bingley, he got attracted towards the eldest daughter of Miss Bennet, and that is Jane Bennet. This is Jane Bennet, right? So he began to like her, have a dance with her. And on the other hand, On the other hand, Miss Elizabeth, she seems to like Darcy, a friend of Bingley, and but Mr. Darcy pay no attention to Elizabeth, right? And he say such words that though you are beautiful but not beautiful, not fair enough to tempt me. So from his wording and from his behavior and attitude, he seems like a proud person, right? An arrogant kind of person because of his birth, his superior birth, and he belonged to a rich family, and he has a estate at Pemberley. He do not interact with people easily because of his nature, right? He do not interact with people easily. He talk less, and this is his character. And right, she invited Jane for a dinner at her home, and Jane got there and become sick due to weather conditions, right? The weather was cold and it was raining. She got sick, and so the family become worried about her, and they all came to the house of Miss Bingley to just take care of Jane. Right here, they just amazed at their living style, the furniture and things like that. As Miss Bennett, she belonged to a lower class, right, or middle class, we will say, right? So her behavior was awkward at that, and she began to admire the things, the furniture and things, and this behavior was uh, didn't seems awkward to Mr. Darcy, and he didn't like it, right? So he get image of Elizabeth family, a worse or a bad image of our family, and he did not like them, right? And there are two characters in this novel, Miss Bennett and Mr. Collins, who are described as comedy of manner characters, right? Because of their strange manners. We will see Mr. Collins as well. So after that, here appears Mr. Collins. He is known as Mr. Collins, and he is a distant cousin of Mr. Bennett, right? And in their Victorian age, it is considered that the one who didn't have descendant, right, a male descendant, their property will goes to their cousin. So he's cousin of Mr. Bennett, and we know that Mr. Bennett didn't have a son, and the property cannot be inherited by his daughter. So the property goes to Mr. Collins. So Mr. Collins come here, and he came with proposal that he want to marry one of the daughters of Miss Bennett, right, Mr. Bennett. So initially he just liked Jane, but Miss Bennett told him that Jane already has been, she is going to, she has an affair with Mr. Bingley, right? And after that he opt for the second choice, and that is Elizabeth. So he just proposed to her, and this proposal was rejected by Elizabeth, right? And after that, another important character is introduced here, and that is Mr. Vikkam. He is known as Mr. Vikkams, and he was a militant in the army, right? A military person. So his character, he was not a loyal person, right? He deceived people, and he just act like that he was kind. Actually he is not. So he just a greedy person and seek wealth. So what he did, he just tried to convince the sister of Mr. Darcy to elope with him, right, to have a secret marriage for her wealth. But this of his plan was unsuccessful, and now he is looking for Lydia, right? So he eloped with Lydia. We will see Lydia, we will discuss in later, right? We will going in sequence. So after that, a second party was held at Netherfield, and this time the feelings of Mr. Darcy towards Elizabeth changed, right? So he began to like her, and admire her, but she got an image of him as a proud man, and based on her judgment and her prejudice, right? She considered him a proud man and did not like him. And after that, the Mr. Bingley, he leaves the town, and this was a shocking news for Jane, as they plan, right? She dreamed of marrying Mr. Bingley, and suddenly he left the town. So it was a shocking news for Jane, and he left for London, and Jane also gone after him to London there. And after that, an important incident take place, that Mr. Colin, after rejected by Elizabeth, he married to this lady known as Charlotte, right? Because she married to him, their marriage, right, it was not based on love, rather it was based on need or just money, because he was a wealthy person, right? And this is Charlotte, and she married him because of wealth or things, the requirement, right? Because he been able to feed her and provide her the facilities and things like that. So different kind of marriages we will find in this novel. And after that, Elizabeth was invited to Kent, right, at Hunsford, where Charlotte and Mr. Collins lives. So there she was invited to Lady Catherine, another important character being introduced here, Lady Catherine, who was the aunt of Mr. Darcy, and she was rich lady, and she was a proud of her class, right? Class distinction we will also find in this novel, proud of her birth, her status, right? She was a status conscious, and she met Elizabeth and make judgments about her family life and things like that. And this is the daughter of Lady Catherine, and she want her daughter to marry Mr. Darcy, and this is Colonel Fitzwilliam, uh, who is the cousin of Mr. Darcy. So we will see his role as well. Yes, after that, Colonel Fitzwilliam told Elizabeth about Darcy's interference in the marriage of Jane and Bingley. Bingley left Netherfield because he was just urged by Darcy, Mr. Darcy, because he didn't like the family of Elizabeth, so he do not want Jane to marry his friend Bingley. That's why he interfered, and he just urged Bingley to left the city. Mr. Darcy, as I already told you, he was overwhelmed by Elizabeth, and he began to like her. So he proposed to her, right? And he proposed to her in such awkward manner that she rejected him, because she has got a prejudice or judgment against him, that he was proud, he interfered in the marriage of her sister Jane, and on such a beautiful words, right? The words I still remember, that he had said that indeed in vain have I struggled, it will not do, my feelings cannot be repressed, let me tell you that how ardently I admire and love you. So his proposal go in vain, and she rejected him based on her prejudice, her judgment, right? She rejected, and she said that you made me realize that if you were the last man in the world I could ever be prevail upon to marry, right? Because she accuses him of two accusations. The first was his interference in Jane's marriage, and second was his cruel behavior towards Mr. Vikkam. And later, when Mr. Darcy, he justify himself, right, through writing a letter to Elizabeth, and she realized that how wrong she was in making judgment about Mr. Darcy, and her feelings towards him changed later, right? You bewitched me, body and soul. I love you, right? And then Elizabeth got a visit to Pemberley, the home of Mr. Darcy, right? So she visited there, and with her uncle, Mr. Gardner, right? So she visited Mr. Pemberley, the home of Mr. Darcy, and because she think that Mr. Darcy won't be there, but actually he was there, and they met again, and she met Darcy's sister, and there she got a shocking news, a letter that that goes like this, that tell about the elopement of Lydia and Mr. Vikkam, right? Elopement, a marriage, a secret marriage, you can say, runaway, and they run away and have a marriage. So it was a shameful act for the family to have elopement. Their daughter eloped with Mr. Vickams, and he demanded £100 per year, right? He demanded money for that marriage, right? And that money was provided by Mr. Darcy, so that there won't be any shame or to the family, to save the family. So he saved Elizabeth family from that shame, and Lydia got married to Mr. Vickam. And after that, Mr. Bingley, he just returned to Netherfield, right? And he proposed to Jane, and they got married. So again, a different kind of marriage between them, right? It was also based on love. And Lady Catherine, she just came to Elizabeth and to told her, to warn her that she don't even dream of marrying Darcy, because she wished her own daughter, to marry Mr. Darcy. And Elizabeth said that yes, she won't do any interference in that marriage. But later, Mr. Darcy, he came to Elizabeth with a marriage proposal, right? And they love each other, they both love each other, and so they got married, and it was a happy ending. So here the novels end. Hope you understand and enjoy. Better you watch the movie to understand this better. It was really amazing and a very romantic movie. Thank you for watching.